What's going on, everyone? Thank you so much for clicking on this video, and it's my favorite day. It's e-bike review day, and I have got an awesome one for us to take a look at today. This is the 2021 X-Class from Ariel Rider. This is the 52-volt version. If you don't know much about Ariel Rider, they've got over 22 years experience in the e-bike industry. They make a number of different like moped, motorcycle style e-bikes like this one. This is the X-Class. They also make a D-Class that has dual motors, and the top spec one is the Ariel Grizzly, which just looks insane with double motors and double batteries. So there's a number of different offerings from Ariel Rider. If you're going for this look, if you're looking for that moped style or scrambler style e-bike, they got some choices for you. We're gonna focus on this one specifically today though, the 52-volt version of the X-Class, and I'm gonna hopefully deliver as much information as I possibly can, but I'm not gonna get overly technical. If you want all those tech specs, I will of course put a link in the description to this exact bike below so you can get there easily. If you've watched my reviews in the past, you know I am not a professional in any way. I'm not a cyclist or an e-bike technician or anything like that. I'm just your regular average rider of e-bikes, and that's kind of the information I hope to present to you. What does the average person need to know about this bike? So just know that. And then the second thing I always like to mention is that I did not purchase this bike. Full disclosure, this is here courtesy of Ariel Rider. They sent this out to me for testing and for me to make a review video, so that's what we're doing today. So we're gonna do like we always do, front to back, top to bottom. I'm gonna give you a close-up look at all the components so you see what you get for your money. What is the money? Well, right now it's $2,099 on the website, and it comes in different colors as well. Obviously red here. It comes in black and blue, so you do have your color choice. Now this is the 52-volt version with the 1,000-watt motor. However, they do have a slightly downgraded version of this X-Class, which is a 48-volt, 750-watt motor in that one, and that one goes for $1,599. But enough talk, let's jump in and take a look at this thing up close. All right, we are taking a look at the X-Class bike, the 52-volt version from Ariel Rider, and I'm sure the camera does not do this bike justice, but it is beautiful. The black and the red look really great together. The gold accents really set it off. I'm liking this look. It's very sharp. I'm liking the moped style e-bikes more and more every day, actually. And this bike is definitely sharp looking. So let's start going through some of the components. We'll get to performance a bit later, and then at the end I'll try to give you some key things you might want to know about it, and also maybe some surprises that I ran across as I rode it, because I've had it for about a week now. But up front we got 20-inch wheels, which, I mean, neither the wheel nor the tire is actually 20 inches. They just call it that. From the ground to the top of the tires, about 22.5 inches. We are rolling on CST tires. They've got the reflective stripe on them, which I'm not a fan of. I don't like the reflective stripes. They are super bright, very visible at night, but I don't know, to me it just breaks up the tire too much. But it does have the reflective stripe. The tread pattern, I mean, I'll call it kind of mild. It's enough to allow you to go a little bit off-road. You're not gonna tear it up off-road. I think it's probably geared more toward the street. They say you can inflate them up to 30 pounds PSI. I have mine set around 22, I believe. The front does not have a quick release front wheel. You know, you gotta get out your wrenches, pull the axle out if you want to take the front wheel off, which I don't really think you're gonna be doing that a whole lot on this bike. But come around to the other side, we've got our brakes, which are 180 millimeter disc brakes. Tektro, they're full hydraulic brakes. They're awesome. They're great brakes. I had no issue stopping with this bike. Beautiful brakes, which you need that. I'll say that right now. You need those brakes with this bike, with how much power this thing has. So I appreciate the full hydraulic brakes on this bike. They're definitely a good addition. Now the bike does come with both front and rear fenders. You can see it's mounted nice and high. That's for when your suspension squishes here and your tire comes up. You don't hit the fender. It didn't even get close. I never hit the fender with the tire, so plenty of clearance there. Now maybe you've already noticed, but these are upside down front forks, or inverted front forks. Normally they're spun completely around, and this part is at the top. Now, I, of course, am not a suspension expert whatsoever, but from what I understand, this is better for handling and for the feel in the front end to have them this way. And these forks are, I mean, they're essentially like motorcycle front forks. They're very, very beefy forks on here. I mean, much beefier than a normal, I guess, e-bike that I've ridden. I don't know the exact millimeter travel and all of that. What I can tell you is these are heavy duty compared to the other e-bike forks I've seen. They look like motorcycle front forks, so probably a pretty big upgrade there. They do have adjustment knobs here on the top, and they've got these giant rubber pieces here, which these are for when you completely lock out your steering like this. You know, you don't end up hitting the frame with your fork, or hitting your fork with the frame. Saves the paint, saves any damage, because it just hits that rubber thing instead. So good addition, I like that. Now with the front forks, I will tell you that they feel pretty stiff. I mean, normally when I jump on an e-bike, I can grab a hold of the handlebars and just, you know, smash them down and pretty much bottom out the suspension. I couldn't do that with this bike. They are stiff enough that I really didn't bottom them out, but they did have enough travel that it gave you a nice ride. So I like the forks. Staying up at the front here, we have kind of a motorcycle style headlight. So, I mean, you're gonna hear me come back to this constantly in this video, and I apologize, but we've got kind of motorcycle-ish front forks. We've got motorcycle-ish headlight. It's not crazy bright. It's plenty bright. It's basically, it looks like a automotive headlight, but it's got the brightness of basically a bicycle light. It's not super bright. It was adequate. I'm sure people could see me just fine. This was perfectly fine though. I found it plenty bright for just riding around town. The wires at the front are tied nice and neat. I appreciate that. We've got our Tektro brake levers here. They feel nice. They've got motor cutoffs in the levers, so when you pull the lever, the motor is disengaged. Our grips, we've got the faux leather wrap with the palm rest. This is one I see a lot on e-bikes. Ariel rider took it an extra step and stamped their logo in there, and also put some ridging across the top. Just give it a little bit more, I guess, higher end feel. So that looks nice. I don't mind these. The throttle, yes, twist throttle on the right hand. Everyone's going to be happy with that. It would be almost a sin to put a thumb throttle on this thing, since it's basically like a mini motorcycle. So twist throttle on the right hand, love it. It's got some extra added grip on there, I like that. The shifting, okay, so Shimano 7-speed. Honestly, it's, I don't know, I didn't really shift this bike at all. I put it into 7th gear, and I don't know if I ever took it out of 7th gear. It's kind of unnecessary. When you need to get going from a stop, you just give it a little bit of throttle from this gigantically powerful motor, and you get going easily. Or if you're climbing a hill and it's getting hard to pedal, you just, again, twist the throttle. So, I mean, I really didn't shift this thing at all. I'm glad it's there. Maybe some folks will use it. It's nice that it's there, but I really didn't use it at all as I rode this thing. Let's jump over to the screen. So there's 4 buttons on the screen. You've got plus and minus here. That's for get to your pedal assist easy. And then the other 2 are on the bottom under here. It's your menu and also your power on. So let's power it on really quick and see what it looks like. So there you go. This gives you the basic information, right? You've got your mile per hour, your odometer, your battery indicator, and your pedal assist. And that's it. There's no bells and whistles and frills with this screen. It gives you the basic information. It's small here off to the side. Some people are going to like it. Some people are going to hate it. It really opens up this whole area right here in the middle, though, for you to mount whatever you want to put here. Cup holders, cell phone mounts, auxiliary lights, bag, whatever you want there. So it does open up a lot of space on the handlebars, that's for sure. And it does have a USB charging port right here on the side. There's also one on the battery, so you have 2 USB power points on this bike. Now, while we're talking about screen, I did go into mine and make a few adjustments. I, of course, went in and just maxed out the speed limit, which you can set it to like 62 miles an hour. Of course, the bike does not go 62 miles an hour, but that basically just tells it no limit, go as fast as you can. And then I also changed mine to, if you watch the pedal assist number, it comes programmed 1 through 5, and I set it to 1 through 9. So you can change that. So I have 9 levels of pedal assist, which I do like that. It allows you to kind of fine tune it a little bit more. With regard to the handlebars, so here's one thing that kind of surprised me was how narrow they are. They've got this kind of swept back nature to them, but they're not extremely wide. A lot of times I'll see handlebars that are 28, 29 inches from, you know, end to end. These are about 25 from end to end. So they feel close together, but I noticed it's a lot easier to kind of navigate through small spaces with this bike. So I did like that about it. Now the handlebars also have this adjustment point right here. You can see I've got it adjusted the whole way up. I wanted the bike to be kind of as tall as I could get it. I was a little concerned with having that piece be, you know, straight out and get that, you know, real cafe racer style seating position. I don't like to lean too far over, so I put it as basically as tall as I could get it. And from the ground to the grip here is about 40 inches when you have it the whole way up. And I can tell you from me riding this bike, I'll put up some images of me sitting on this bike so you can get a feel for how I fit on it. I am 6 feet tall. I have really long legs. I was kind of concerned that it was going to be an uncomfortable seating position, but with the handlebars raised the whole way up, it was not that uncomfortable. I mean, I rode it around for an hour and my butt hurt more at the end of that from the seat than my back or shoulders or anything from the seating position. So I was a little surprised at the comfort. I thought it was going to be way more uncomfortable looking at it. It was not that bad. I could see myself possibly changing out the seat, but I think for right now, the handlebars, I'm okay with that. Now, I also had my wife, who's 5'3", sit on the bike. It was a little bit tall for her. So let's just stop here and discuss that, the seat height. So the seat height is 34 inches, which is pretty darn tall, honestly, for an e-bike. I mean, that's taller than my motorcycles. I have 3 motorcycles, and this seat height on this is taller than all 3 of them. You gotta have, I guess, the confidence to ride something a little bit taller, or have the long legs to get your feet down, because there is no adjustment in the seat at all. It is what it is. It's 34 inches. Now, they sell an aftermarket longer seat. You can get a double seat, which comes back to here, so it's easier to carry a passenger. But I guess maybe a better option for them would be to sell a low profile seat where they shrink it down and give you an extra inch lower. That might be a good accessory for this thing, because I imagine that some folks are going to struggle with that seat height. So it comes standard with this seat, the short seat. If you want the long seat, you're going to have to buy that extra from Ariel Rider. I think they go for 89 bucks. But enough about the seat. Let's talk about battery. Right here is your battery. This is a 52 volt battery and it's 18 amp hour. So it's got a pretty good capacity. I mean, a lot of bikes that are in this rough price category are going to have 14, 15, maybe you're lucky you can get a 17 and a half amp hour battery. So this one's 18. This is a pretty good battery life out of this thing. I was riding it around. I did not do an official range test, but I can tell you I rode it from fully charged down to, I think I had 1 bar left, and I was somewhere around like 30 miles. And that was with not a lot of pedaling. It was mostly full throttle the whole time. So I would imagine, I think they say you get up to 75 miles on this bike, which, I mean, if you're in pedal assist 1 and you're pedaling a ton, maybe you get 75 miles. I would venture a guess you're probably going to be more in the 30, 35 kind of range everyday riding with this, because you're going to use the throttle a lot. So these are probably my favorite style of batteries, the ones that come in from the side. So as opposed to, those big clunky boxes that are just mounted right here. I like this look a lot better. So you key in right here, turn it. Oh, it's kind of hard to do one-handed. Let me try to do it one-handed. There you go. So it slides in the side like that. And there you go. There's your battery. Again, 52 volt, 18 amp hour battery, and it's heavy. It's definitely a heavy battery. And then click in, and now you're in. So charge port right here. You can charge it on the bike or off. And then your controller is, I'm assuming, back behind here. I did not open this up to look, but I would almost guarantee that's where the controller is. 35 amp controller, which is a good controller. I've upgraded e-bikes in the past, and that is what I upgraded to. So honestly, with this bike, I don't really think you're going to need to upgrade anything. It's got crazy amount of power. You can see we've got our class 2 sticker here. You can make this a class 2 bike that's, legal to ride around, or you can unlock it and get the full power out of this baby, which is how I've been riding it. But let's come over to the other side here. We'll talk about the rear suspension. So you got this spring right here, which you can adjust by turning this right here, this dial, and then also this little dial here for the rebound. And I did mess around with it. I did turn both of those and tried to soften up the ride. I was successful. It is softer than when it arrived. I am absolutely not a suspension expert. I have no idea if this is set correctly or incorrectly. Maybe you are, maybe you're smarter than me, you know how to set this up for you, but it does have those adjustments, which, I have other e-bikes that have full suspension, rear suspension, and they don't have any adjustment. So big upgrade here that this is fully adjustable. So you're gearing 42 tooth in the front, 1428 in the back. What does that mean? Well, I mean, as I said before, I didn't even really change gears on this thing at all. I just put it in the highest gear and left it there the entire time. Once you hit about 25 miles an hour or so, it's just ridiculous to try and keep up with pedaling this thing. You just run out of pedal. So you're just going to be using the throttle most of the time riding this bike anyway. I feel that's kind of how it wants to be ridden. All right, well, another cool little accessory they include here at the back is rear passenger pegs that fold up, fold down nicely, lock into place. It's not going to rattle and fall down. It clicks into place. It holds plenty of weight from what I can tell. I mean, I was standing on these this morning and pulling wheelies in an open field. It's kind of fun. You stand on these back pegs and just crank the throttle, and the front end comes way up in the air. It's a lot of fun. Don't try that at home, but they held my weight just fine at 175 pounds, so I'm sure it'd be no problem for someone sitting on the back and resting their feet on there. If you're going to carry a rear passenger, I mean, of course I would want to get the longer seat so they have a comfortable spot to sit instead of just this, you know, flat metal surface, which, you know, if you get in a pinch and someone needs a ride home a mile or two down the street, no problem for them to sit on there and put their feet on the pegs and ride home. All right, well, I won't delay any longer. I know you've been waiting for me to get to this 1,000 watt rear hub motor that peaks at 2,000 watts. So you've got 2,000 watts of power at your disposal with this bike. It is very fast off the line. It is very fast top speed. No upgrades really needed on this thing. It's plenty fast. You can keep up in 25, 30 mile an hour traffic, no problem. Also, an important thing to note is the Ariel rider tells me inside here, they actually use metal planetary gears. So, you know, most other companies are using nylon or plastic or whatever it is. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I have a motor here that I currently have out of a different bike, and you can see what I mean. So these gears, these blue gears right here, the planetary gears, in most bike motors like this one, they're nylon. So these are nylon gears. Ariel rider's gears are metal, and that allows the motor to handle more torque. So this motor, I believe, can handle, what is that, 110 Newton meters of torque is what it's rated for. And a lot of the other, you know, Bafang 750 motors, kind of like this one, are rated for, I think, like 80. So what does all that mean? It means this motor is built to handle the power, and you're not gonna, you know, shred these gears from putting too much power through them, because in the Ariel rider bike, they're metal. So they're gonna be able to handle all the power that this bike is putting down. So with that 2,000 watts of power, you know, at the twist of your wrist, this thing is a ton of fun to ride. And that's one of the, I guess, big things I can tell you about this bike is when I was riding this, I did not feel like I was riding a bicycle. I felt like I was riding a little miniature electric motorcycle. That's definitely the feeling you get from it. It just wants to go, 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 and it wants you to use the throttle. You know, over 25 miles an hour, the pedaling is just irrelevant. You can't even keep up pedaling. I just rode it around like a little miniature motorcycle most time I was on it. So I think that's probably a good place to stop and show you the performance footage that I took of pedaling it as fast as I could, and top speed with the throttle only on level ground, hill climb, acceleration test, all that stuff. So let's take a look. All right, let's get up to, I've got my pedal assist set to 1 through 9. So let's get to pedal assist 9 and see what this thing's got. To 20 mile an hour test. This thing's going to be quick because it pulls hard off the line. So let's see what she's got. 3, 2, 1, go. That was very fast, very quick. Probably one of the quickest bikes I've been on off the line. All right, well, here we are at hill climb. Now, I'm normally testing bikes that are 48 volt and 750 watts. And they go up this hill, you know, the strong ones will go up maybe 15, 16 miles an hour. So this Ariel rider bike is 52 volt system, and we're working with a 1,000 watt motor that peaks at 2,000. So I expect this bike to absolutely just crush this hill. It's just a short, steep, little quick hill. So let's find out how much stronger it is. total breeze, not struggling at all. I mean, 20 mile an hour up that hill, just effortless, completely effortless. All right, I'm here in front of a very nice long straight stretch, and this is gonna give us everything here. So we'll be able to get a 0 to 20, we'll be able to get an 1/8 mile, quarter mile, and a top speed throttle only, all in this one spot. So let's see what it's got. 3, 2, 1, go. Eighth. Quarter. All right, well, as you saw, this bike is a very strong performer. It's fast off the line, it's got a good top speed. I believe Ariel Rider says it could go up to like 36 miles an hour. I never really saw it hit 36 miles an hour. I think I saw it hit 34, 35, but you know, that was a couple miles an hour faster than my GPS was reading. So I'm gonna say my top speed on this bike was probably about maybe 33 miles an hour, we'll split the difference. But it gets there quick. I mean, you go from 0 up to 30 plus miles an hour, no problem. I mean, it just pulls the whole way up over 30. And then when you hit like that 32, 33-ish, I can kind of feel the motor cut out, like it's kind of limited right there. But I mean, 0 to 30 is super quick on this bike and very easy to keep up in traffic with this thing. I mean, riding this around, I don't feel like a bicyclist. I feel like I'm a miniature motorcycle, and traffic is treating me that way. I can keep up with 25 mile an hour, even 30 mile an hour traffic very easily. No one's waiting for me. I'm not lagging behind. I'm actually probably quicker off the line than some of these cars. But it's got that mini motorcycle feel. It doesn't feel like a bicycle. But yet I can take it places I can't take a motorcycle if I need to. But operating in just downtown traffic like this thing is perfect for this. It's kind of the best of both worlds, really. If you're looking for like a just kind of run around town like this in this traffic, I mean, you can't beat this thing. Signal, especially if you live in a spot where you can like lane split. I can't lane split here in North Carolina. It's not allowed. I mean, with this much power at your fingertips and the cafe racer style seating and the strong brakes, it just feels like a little miniature motorcycle. It wants you to just, you know, find spots to race it around like a little bike, like a little motorcycle. Plenty of braking power, and then crank the throttle into the turn. It's just so much fun. We're going up a hill now effortlessly at 20 mile an hour. Here's the ultimate test. Hey, I got a wave back from a motorcyclist. Am I a motorcycle? All right, so now let me talk about some of the main things I think you need to know about the X Class. So, is it comfortable? Yeah, it is. I didn't really have any issues with the comfort. Looking at the bike initially, I was like, man, that thing is not gonna be comfortable. And it was. I mean, I'm not in any rush to go out and make any comfort mods to this bike. I think it's fine as is. So, surprisingly comfortable, yes. How fast is it? Well, I mean, 32, 33 miles an hour is what I was getting out of it. I weigh 175 pounds. That's how fast I could get it to go, topped out right around 32, 33. But you don't need a mile-long straight stretch to get there. I mean, it gets there like that. I mean, it's very quick, 0 to like 32, and then you kind of feel it cut out. So about 32, 33 miles an hour is easy, and it gets there very quickly. Is it a good starting platform to build out an e-bike? Yes, absolutely. I would say that, because you don't need any power upgrades. You've already got a big battery, you've already got a big controller, you've already got a big motor, robust motor with the metal gears as well. So you could spend all of your extra money for, you know, gadgets, gizmos, lights, accessories, packs, whatever. Spend all your money on the accessories and build this thing out into a cool little electric cruiser motorcycle style bike. So yeah, I think it'd be a really good platform to build out if you're looking to get a bike and throw some extra cash at it to make it cool and customize it. Can you carry a passenger? Yeah, I mean, you've got a place for them to sit and you've got rear pegs for them to put their feet on. So yeah, you can carry a passenger. I don't know if I would buy this for the purpose of riding two up on it all the time, but yeah, you can carry a passenger on it. If you're looking for an e-bike for exercise, I don't know if this is the one to get. Don't let me talk you out of buying it, but you know, you don't feel like you're riding a bicycle on this one. It's harder to input into the pedals with the seating position, so not one I would probably buy for cycling exercise. Can it climb a really steep hill? People ask me this all the time about bikes. You know, I live in a place where I just have crazy hills. Will this thing be able to make it up with ease? I don't really have any steep hills like that around me to try it on. I mean, if you live in extremely mountainous, crazy hilly, you're climbing up a ski slope, you know, maybe it struggles then, and you can't really input into the pedals to help it. So I don't know, maybe it wouldn't work for that, but I mean, this thing just conquered with ease any hill around me. It's very strong on the hill. I mean, 2,000 watts. That's gonna pull you up some really good hills. And the last thing I'll say that I think is important is the seat height. It is tall, 34-inch seat height, which I think is gonna be a little intimidating to the shorter riders. So just know that going in. It is pretty tall. So, you know, grab a bar stool and stack up some books on it until you hit 34 inches and then try to get on it. And then you'll have an idea what it's like to try to get on this bike. All right, now surprises. What surprised me about this bike, we've talked about it numerous times, but the comfort, I was a little bit shocked at how comfortable it actually was. It didn't look like it was gonna be, but it is. I have no problem. I'm not rushing out to make any comfort modifications to this bike. The second surprise I'll say is throttle response. Wow, I mean, there's no delay whatsoever in the throttle. Normally on an e-bike, I've been on like 20 plus e-bikes now, there's usually a delay from when you twist or when you thumb the throttle before it finally kicks in. There is no delay on this bike whatsoever. The throttle is instantaneous response. So that was a good surprise. I like that a lot. The next surprise I'll mention is the rear hub motor noise. So the metal gears in there, they're definitely louder than the nylon ones. You can hear this bike coming down the road. If you're going 25 plus miles an hour, you've got that motor making noise. You've got the tires roaring down the road as well. Those tires are kind of loud, but people will hear you coming. And actually, maybe that's a good thing, actually, that they hear you coming. You're not silently creeping up on people. I do have a clip of this motor going down the road versus a regular Bafang 750 motor going down the road, so you can take a listen to that. I feel like this motor is maybe like almost twice as loud as a Bafang motor with the nylon gears. I did not find it obnoxious or annoying or anything like that. I just noticed it, and nobody was giving me any strange looks going by or anything like that. It's not that crazy loud. It's just something that surprised me that it actually is a little bit louder with those metal gears in there. All right, well, that about wraps up the X-Class 52-volt version from Ariel Rider. And if you're looking for the scrambler moped style e-bike look, then I mean, you got to put this one on your list. I mean, what other bike out there is giving you full hydraulic brakes, 18 amp hour battery, 52 volt system, 35 amp controller, 2,000 watt rear motor with the more robust gearing inside with the metal gears, front and rear suspension that are both adjustable? I mean, what other bike is out there for 2,100 bucks that gives you all that? I don't know. I feel like Ariel Rider is over delivering on this bike for the price point, so that is good for the consumer. So take advantage while you can, I guess. I will of course link below the bike in the description so you can get there and check it out and see if it is one you want to consider or not. I hope you found all this info helpful or at least enjoyable to watch. Check out my reviews and comparisons playlist for reviews on other bikes as well, and thank you to Ariel Rider for giving me a chance to check this one out. That's all. Thank you so much for watching.